Welcome to the Hidden History series. In this week's episode, I am going to discuss the Monstrous builders. From the civilizations and tribal societies of planet Earth has arisen the stories of world mythology. Every story is based on an individual's experience or those of specific communities. Although many aspects of the stories from world mythology seem fantastical, there is certainly enough evidence to state the giants most definitely existed. So what has really happened to this important part of our history on planet Earth? When you look at the detailed stories of Greek and Roman mythology, which mention the Cyclopses, they were described as enormous Hellenic giants which stood over 30 feet tall. Were these Cyclopean giants the ancestors of the Tartarian giants? According to the stories from Greek and Roman mythology, there were three kinds of Cyclopses. In the Phonogony, which is a poem about the genealogy of the Olympian deities, the famous Greek poet known as Hesiod reflectively wrote about the Cyclopses' three brothers that were known as Bronte Prototheos, Steuroptus Prontetheos, and Argos Prontetheos. Apparently, they made the thunderbolt for the father of the Olympian deities, Zeus Olympos. In the epic poem called the Odyssey, which is about the quest for the Ithacan king called Odius Caphelonios after the Trojan War, the epic poem was written by the Greek poet known as Homerus Melisou, or Homer. According to the Odyssey, the legendary Ithacan king called Odius Caphelonios encounters the Cyclopses, who are perceived as an uncivilized grouping of shepherds. Each of them are the brethren of the deity giant called Polyphemus Olympos. The resourceful Cyclopses were also seen as the famous sacred builders of the Cyclopean walls in southern Greece. Many of the cultures which the Native Americans had developed were completely destroyed by white Europeans that were instructed to carry out the orders of the royalty and the aristocrats from the United Kingdom and mainland Europe. What were the real reasons for the elimination of the American Indian tribes? What kind of knowledge did they have about Lemuria, Atlantis, the hairy humanoids and the white giants that had been censored and deleted? Within the Ohio River Valley of the Midwestern and the Southern United States, there are numerous serpent mounds and Indian mounds. During the 15th of August 1872, three huge skeletons were found in the Bates Mound at the Seneca Township of southeastern Ohio. After the excavation had been completed, the skeletons were estimated to have been at least 9 feet tall in height. Apparently, other skeletal remains were found in the Bates Mound, which showed that some of the white giants were over 11 feet tall. Apparently, there were two kinds of white giants who resided on the North American continent. According to the Shawnee Indians, the Lenape Indians, and other native tribes, there were communities of the Zuwea-Wenik, the archaic people, which is the name the Lenape used to describe them. The communities of the Keketsi-Okri, archaic people, which is the name that the Seneca Indians used for them. Such individuals warred against the Winkimac-Wenik, the pleasant people, as the Lenape Indians named them, who the Seneca Indians called the Etet Karet Okri, the pleasant people. These were powerful white giants, also became commonly defined as the Adena people, and were believed to have travelled up into the North American continent around 1750 BC. Apparently, the white giants, who were also known as the Adena giants, stood between 9 to 11 feet in height. An amazing discovery occurred at Ashtabula County in northeastern Ohio, which was once a large area which the Adena people collectively inhabited. Large serpent mounds were founded in local meadows there. Once the serpent mounds were excavated, a skull and jaw that was such a size, it was estimated that the actual white giant would have to have been at least 12 feet tall. After further excavations had been completed in the Serpent Mounds, they discovered another 2,500 to 3,200 skeletons of the Shinauki Winki Wayok, the white giants, as the Lenape Indians called them. After the communities of Adena people moved from Central America and South America into the Ohio River Valley to claim that location as the territory, a massive conflict arose between the archaic people and the pleasant people, or Adena people. This resulted in the defeat and elimination of the much slender archaic humanoids, and the more advanced and powerful Adena giants then constructed the Serpent Mounds that are likewise called the Indian Mounds in the Ohio River Valley of the United States. There is no doubt the American Indians had interactions with numerous white giants over many thousands of years on the North American continent. The management teams of the Smithsonian Institution seem to have gone to tremendous lengths to censor and suppress any knowledge about the white giants from becoming publicly known about. The sacred landscapes of North America seem to have been deliberately controlled and subverted to prevent the real spiritual knowledge of the Native Americans from becoming widely known about. Whenever a story arises about the white giants having been seen in remote locations on the earth. You even have the US Army Special Forces, which are covertly deployed to those areas of earth to prevent any local populations from knowing about the presence of the white giants. Is this done for our own protection and safety? It is known that the US Army Special Forces, also known as the Green Berets, attacked a 13-foot tall red-haired white giant which had 6-fingered hands. The aggressive giant had emerged to confront them from inside the Tora Bora dark cave of the Spingar mountain range in eastern Afghanistan. This confrontation happened on the 8th of December 2001 during the Battle of Tora Bora, which lasted from the 6th of December to the 17th of December 2001. According to the legends of the Afghans, a community of huge-looking humanoids reside in the Spingar mountain range in eastern Afghanistan and are known locally as the Spingar mountain giants. Some of the enlisted soldiers or ground infantry fired on the aggressive white giant, which retreated back into the Tora Bora cave. This event has never been acknowledged by United States Army Special Operations Command at the installation known as Fort Bragg in North Carolina, USA. Another bizarre encounter occurred between the US Army Special Forces, also known as the Green Berets, and a violent white giant during the 14th of October 2003. This situation happened whilst the US Army Special Forces were fighting the Taliban in the Sulayman Mountains of the Kandahar province in southern Afghanistan. The Kandahar giant emerged from the Paki Tora lightning cave. The massive Kandahar giant was described as standing over 13 feet tall and had a pale complexion, bright red hair and 6-fingered hands. Some accounts claim that the Kandahar giant was as tall as 15 feet high and wore leather moccasins and trousers, exuded a terrible stench and suddenly emerged from the Tora Bora cave, and then slew an enlisted soldier with a metallic spear. It is believed that the deaths of the red-haired giant with 6-fingered hands and the enlisted soldiers were covered up by the United States Army Special Operations Command, the USASOC. Again, these are just some of the stories about the white giants whose vast civilizations once existed in northern Asia and North America. Such enormous humanoids have become a topic of discussion and fascination for many individuals. Does the existence of the white giants have something to do with the human psyche? Even though much of this information sounds like stories from world mythology and world folklore, this subject is of tremendous importance, and there is so much evidence that proves that white giants did exist, that more scientific research needs to be carried out. Whose version of history are we as individuals observing here? I do believe the academic validity of scientific organisations, colleges and universities needs to be questioned, because a massive cover-up of real history has obviously taken place on planet Earth. Thank you for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Hidden History series. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next week.